Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of the 8-6 podcast. Has it really been that many? Hosted
It
by
has.
It has indeed, hosted by Half Past 8 and Swag Rabbit. On today's episode, the FIA finally extracts head from ass and plans to return to V8s, while Toyota teases a retro Land Cruiser concept. Plus, Prius racing comes to South Korea and hopefully to a track near you soon. But first, is the Honda Prelude more popular than the 8-6? No, but some journalist apparently thinks so, or wants you to think so. So this is on Motor One, came out yesterday afternoon, making the argument, making a comparison between the sales of the, fifth gen, sixth gen, latest gen Prelude.
So the Prelude is on the 6th generation. I know that because I own a 5th gen.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never give up that car as long as I can.
You own the last good one. And they're making a comparison. And this is where I get into my theory about this article. My theory is that this is Honda apologia. They're trying to say, like, oh, all the people talking about how awful and terrible the Prelude is and how it just isn't selling well. Well, they're wrong because it's outselling the BRZ, which sounds very impressive if you don't know why the BRZ has only sold like 200, why Subaru has only sold only like 250 BRZs in first quarter.
I can invalidate this entire argument with one sentence. Besides the internal metrics the companies individually use to gauge the sales of the BRZ and the GAT86, it's two different companies.
Mm-hmm.
Those cars should never, ever be separated as far as sales figures when it comes to just talking about them generally. Ever.
Yes.
And if that's the case, then those outsell the Prelude by probably 10 times.
Not 10 times. I think Toyota sells between like 25 and 30,000 the GR86s every year. And Subaru sells about like 5 to 10,000 BRZs a year. They're on track for closer to like 2,000 this year, but there's again a few reasons for that. One of which has to do with Toyota. I'm going to bring up two. One has to do with Toyota, and one has to do with Subaru. The one that has to do with Toyota is, and we can't. This is a little bit weird. There's a lot of suggestion out there that Subaru is contractually limited on how many of these they can sell, because they only make these in one factory. They're made in Subaru's factory in Gunma Prefecture in Japan, and they can only make so many in a year, and Toyota has to have the bulk of them because it's all the same car, it's the same chassis. Toyota has to have the bulk of them for their demand. Because Toyota treats the 8.6 kind of like a front runner, a mainstay of their lineup. While for Subaru, the BRZ is kind of a thing they sell if you're one of those weirdos that wants a Subaru that isn't all-wheel drive. They really wish this thing was all-wheel drive. I mean, look at the one-off rally version they made. It's all-wheel drive. They want it to be all-wheel drive. So there's some suggestion that there's like a contractual agreement between Subaru and Toyota where Subaru can only sell like one BRZ for every 4 Toyota gets, or they can only have one BRZ for sale for every 4 Toyota gets.
Which is better than what it was stipulated it originally was, because when they first came out, the thought was 1 in 10.
Yeah. I can't really find any good confirmation that this is true, but even if it's not like literally written into the contract that Subaru and Toyota have, it's not unlikely that when it comes to like divvying up the ones that come off the line, Toyota probably gets the lion's share and Subaru's probably fine with that. Because again, Subaru doesn't care about the BRZ. They sell it to fill out their lineup.
Effectively. They need to do something else to figure out their lineup, though. I think they probably need another version of a sports car or something.
But that's the reason to do with Toyota. The reason to do with Subaru, we kind of touched on already, is the BRZ's the really oddball in the lineup. And granted, I mean, Subaru doesn't have a lot of performance cars. They have like the higher trim levels of the Impreza if you want to dream of owning a 2.5 RS without owning a real 2.5 RS, and the WRX, which is kind of in a weird spot, and then the BRZ, which, I mean, Subi guys don't buy it because it's rear-wheel drive. And non-Subi guys who want a sports car don't buy it because the GR8...
They can go to Toyota and it's cheaper.
Yeah, they can go to Toyota. It's cheaper because Subaru's kind of focusing more on making the BRZ a more premium experience. I don't know why. And also, the GR86 has a lot more... a lot better brand image. When it comes to first gen, I will say, everyone looks at it and they think it's BRZ. Second gen, everyone looks at it, they think it's a GR86. Because I do know every time I pull up my Scion, it's like, oh, is that a BRZ? It's like, kind of. So that's kind of the Subaru reason why the BRZ doesn't sell very well. And Subaru's fine with that. They sell them. This is essentially it. The BRZ exists for people that want a GR86 with a Subaru badge on it, because that's all it is. It's a GR86 with a Subaru badge. So it's, to bring it back around, it's kind of dishonest to compare and like try and puff up the Prelude by comparing it to the BRZ, a car that almost deliberately doesn't sell very well. That's essentially just like a weird compliance car. 1,008 and 86 BRZ so far this year. Oh, I see. Okay, I was mistaking quarterly for monthly sales. So, and even then, like, it's also funny because we talk all this about how Subaru doesn't really sell a whole ton of BRZs, you know, it's not a big thing. Honda sold, what is that? Like,
barely, not even 100 more.
66 more than the BRZ, a car Subaru doesn't even want you to buy. And then you compare it to the MX-5. They sold, I mean, the MX-5's not going anywhere. Like,
here's something I can say.
Twice as many as the Prelude. And then you've got the GR86 on top of that sold even more. What is this article?
It's a stupid fucking article is what it is. But here's the thing. One, I made the point earlier, you can't, from a writing standpoint, say that the GR86 and the BRZ are separated. So one, that is already out the window. Two, the Honda Prelude is brand new. If it was in any good car, it'd be selling a whole lot more than it currently is. People want a Honda, but want two-door, and those are the people that are fucking deluding themselves into buying this car and thinking it's going to be good. And three, it's the Miata. It's going to outsell everything.
Except for the GR86. As we've already established.
Well, the GR86 is like the culmination of taking a Miata, giving it more power, and making it just that little bit more. It's in my personal opinion. I do love Miatas. We both love Miatas. But
it's also
the FRS is just more fun to me.
If you're looking at cars made in the last 5 years, honestly, the second gen 86s seem more popular for like autocross and club racing than the fourth gen Miatas, which I
see 86s all the time, like new ones. The newer body style, I see a whole lot more than I was seeing the older body style when they came out.
Yeah,
like they're crazy popular now.
Motors terrible, awful, horrible take. Oh, it's not your typical little sports car. Yeah, it's shit. Hybrid powertrain, lack of proper gearbox. Yeah, it's shit. Maybe its 200 horsepower hybrid engine is enticing consumers. It's not. A combined fuel economy.
I had a non fucking hybrid in my 5th gen that makes 200 horsepower, and it probably weighed less than this. Actually, I think we looked it up one time. It weighs like 100 pounds more than this car. And it was a good time.
Yeah, because
it sounds good and it feels good. And yeah, because it has gears. Mine's a 5-speed manual too, so mine feels real good.
I also, speaking of editorial dishonesty, combined fuel economy rating that's double that of the BRZ, 44 miles per gallon versus 22 miles per gallon. Okay. Granted, I only have first gen. I don't have the second gen, which is what they're comparing it to. I've got the 2 liter, not the 2.4. But here's my experience with my FRS. I filled up last Sunday, or the Sunday before this one. I filled up the tank, drove it like 2.5 hours to an airfield, spent the entire day either idling or pinning it at red, like damn near red line, doing autocrossing, and drove 2.5 hours back and refueled. And when I did the entries in my little gas book that I have in the glove box, it was 28 miles to the gallon after a day of autocrossing. I don't know how you can get 22 miles to the gallon out of this thing without, like, maybe doing DoorDash, you get it that low. There's no fucking way.
It's driving in constant traffic.
I commute in this thing, and I am not gentle. I drive like a maniac. I get damn near 30 miles to the gallon driving like a maniac in this thing. 22 miles per gallon in what universe? These things are horrifyingly fuel efficient.
I redline my car constantly. I shouldn't, but I do. So, like, I'll get on the road and I'll just take off. And, you know, I'm trying to get places. So, fucking, instead of hovering at 3K, where you should probably hover on the highway, you're hovering at 4K because you're doing 80 or something up the fucking left lane. My car average is between 28 and 32 at all times. And a lot more time I'll see 32 than I will 28.
Yeah.
And there's no hybrid system on that car. The car's just great.
Yeah, it has terrifying fuel economy, which is not something you should give a shit about when buying a sports car.
No, not at all. But
fuel economy it's a nice bonus, but like if you're choosing the Honda Prelude over the Subaru BRZ because it has a higher EPA mileage, hand in your driver's license.
Yeah,
just turn it in and take the bus. Like, you are really, what that's saying is that people aren't buying this thing because they want a fun sports car. They want a slightly sportier hybrid, and
that is kind of the argument he's making, isn't it?
Yeah, and I suppose
people don't buy this thing because they want a fun car.
As a like slightly sportier hybrid, yeah, great. If it said Prius on the back, maybe they get more people buying it. But it says Prelude, so the people that want a hybrid to commute in will buy a Prius. And people who want a Prelude are looking at this thing and walking away from it. And apparently they're selling like 1,000 of them in 4 or 5 months, which is good for them, I guess. I don't know where they're pulling like 1,100 people in 4 months that want to buy these things. But I don't ever want to go there because it's full of weirdos.
Dude, and here's the thing, like, the car is a disappointment. The car's a massive disappointment, and this article is glazing hard enough that I'm kind of thinking, who in the fuck paid him? You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna blame Honda for paying people off if they do. I personally think that you're gonna pull a move like China, but this comes off as I got paid to hype up a car.
Yeah, I mean, don't hurt yourself with that reach, Stretch Armstrong. Anthony Allen is whatever. Like, come on, it was a slow news day, and you had to come up with some reason to make this car sound good. I get it. We all make mistakes.
The ass end of the new Prelude needs work. One, I feel like the back window and the little back end is too long and needs some rework. It needs to be a little bit shorter. The rear wheel could be a little bit closer to the door right there. and it needs 50 to 100 more horsepower than it currently has, and it needs to be rear-wheel drive if they're not going to bring back the S2K.
And it also needs to not try and tell the driver how to drive it. If I put it in manual mode and select a gear and sit there, don't be after a minute be like, actually we're going to start shifting for you because we don't think you know what you're doing. Fuck you. That's why you buy a BRZ. Yeah, speaking of the back end on this thing, before we move on, I think you're right, because it really does, of all the like shitty ideas the committee that designed this thing had, one of them definitely was they had a design for it and they looked at it and they said, but what this sports coupe really needs is more trunk space. Because that looks like they just kind of just to get more trunk space.
The side view really makes it, like, really puts the whole picture together. It's just not a great looking car. It could be. It needs to be shorter. And honestly, I think this comes from my love of 370s, but it needs to be shorter. It doesn't need to round like early like the 370 does, but if it was fucking take where the back of the back wheel is, that's where the trunk needs to end. And they need to redesign it so that that's where the trunk ends, and I think it'd be a lot better.
I think what
maybe even a little bit more than that.
The most about it is how like this angle at the front is completely incongruous with this angle at the back.
Let me switch over, see what you're talking about real quick. Where is... Fuck. Okay, I gotta...
Like where the hood meets the windshield compared to where the back window meets the trunk lid.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's... It's like they took two different cars and mashed them together.
The trunk never flattens out. I think they wanted the ability to lift the back window like a trunk lid, but they made it too fucking long, so it's just ugly. That's what it looks like. It looks more like it should be a hatchback open style than a fucking actual boot open style. But if you take a look at the back, it looks like it has a fucking proper boot. So what the fuck is the point in that window being the way it is?
I don't understand anything about this car. Moving on to cars that we actually like. Let's go Land Cruiser.
Hell yeah!
One of the best, one of the few proper SUVs actually made back when SUVs were actual like proper off-roaders and not pavement princesses. This, before anyone kind of gets their hopes up, and I know I did too when I was looking at this article, I was actually hoping that this was going to be the new Land Cruiser. This is a one-off for the Toyota Auto Show, I believe, or something along those lines. It's a concept car, so they're not actually putting this in production, but as with all concept cars, they're going to use the reaction to it to gauge whether or not to put some things in production. So I'm going to be cheerleading this thing hard because I want all of it in production.
I wish I had the money to buy whatever I wanted. I'd buy like 3 of these just to fucking hype their numbers a little bit.
Well, you can't buy it, but...
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They definitely need to make these again.
The only thing I will say to it is this little fender mirror is on the wrong side. They should have put it on the other side, because I think the point of that is you get better visibility on the side that you don't have a good view on. So just stick it on the other side; it would look better. But
yeah, it's like hood mirrors on big rigs.
I mean, I say that and I sound like an idiot. This thing's right-hand drive.
Oh, so it is. Okay, so you're right. Yep.
So never mind, fender mirror is on the correct side because it's Japanese. It's right-hand drive. I'm so used to USDM stuff. Yeah, I want it. One of the few SUVs I'd actually buy. It looks so nice.
We personally talked about it a little while ago. We were talking about Range Rovers or whatever, and then I said, hey, remember the old Range Rover style and how cool it was?
Yeah.
And so I brought up the Ineos Grenadier.
Mm-hmm.
That's this.
Yeah.
This could be the next Ineos Grenadier. I mean, those cars are actually pretty popular here.
So this is both concepts they brought. they've got this kind of more retro styled one and this more modern one. If they come out with a new Land Cruiser, it's gonna probably look more like the one on the right. But I really like the one on the left. Oh.
Everybody likes the one on the left. You know, the one on the left looks close enough to the old ones, and those old ones, I mean, are still used today in countries like Nicaragua and stuff. Like, rich people are the ones that use these because they fucking never break.
Yeah. We're in such a weird. I say this like every episode, but we are in such a weird position in the auto industry right now. All these, especially Japanese manufacturers, just reaching into their back catalog to pull out the oldies and the goodies, except for Honda. And I like it. I'm a little baffled by it, but I like it. Oh, please.
The new one is
Toyota.
not even a bad looking car. Honestly, that the more box body style of the new one on the right actually doesn't look bad. As long as the front end isn't like completely over fucking designed.
I like that front end.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it. I just scrolled down a little bit. Yep, no. So they need to do exactly what not Land Cruiser, Range Rover did. Range Rover has like two versions of cars. There's one that's a retro that they made for a little while, and they need to basically just start making both of these and selling them.
I mean, failing that, sell this, and then I will just get like this as a wrap. Because I could see it. I could totally see.
I mean, the new one is pretty like new sexy, and the old one is just retro sexy, like all the way.
I like this front end more though.
That front end, yeah. The simpler the front end, the better. And honestly, when you have the grill and then right below that grill is a super aggressive fucking flat bumper, that's just a good car.
I mean, this is not a bad front end. It's the Jeremy Clarkson, you know, this is brilliant, but I like this. You know, I want the simpler circles and squares look on an SUV. Like, it's supposed to look simple and boxy and rugged. Like, so it's sad that it's a concept, but it's good that this probably means 27, 28, they're going to come out with something that looks like this. And hopefully someone is going to come out with a kit to make it look like this. I mean, it's got almost the same front bumper. No, never mind. I'm kind of flipping back and forth, but
barring them coming out with the older looking one as like a retro style that you could buy in limited numbers or do something like that, I mean, you could also just go back and find a 70s Range Rover or like a 80s, 90s.
80s, 90s Land Cruiser, yeah.
Land Cruisers.
If you've got a spare like 100K, I think they go for.
Are they going for that now? Jesus Christ!
They're going for a lot. I remember. That's the FJ40. Okay, so not $100,000, but I guess 92 going for 23.5.
So I'm gonna be honest, like the 94, 90, or the 88 through 94 models are fucking. That's an 87, yeah. So 87 is a really good year for him too. So all of those, well, I'm seeing an 88 for 45 on Carfax, and then Gateway Classic Cars has a 94 for 106. So they've got quite the range on them as far as prices.
Yeah. I mean, some of them get up to that. I suppose I overestimated, but yeah, they're like, if you want some of the more desirable ones in good condition.
I think if the COVID bubble had kept pumping everything up, they probably would have reached 200. So you're not far off.
Or 100.
Car prices got kind of fucking stupid for a little while.
Yeah. I mean, what's more to say? This is brilliant, and I want it. I want it to come to market. I probably am in a position to buy one.
I want trucks to just look like that again, dude.
Yeah,
I want that fucking protruding bull ass front end, like, badly. I want it to be made of like hard steel, that doesn't give a fuck about your feelings or your crumple zones.
I mean, you can still have a hard steel front bumper, and
Yeah,
just
you have to do aftermarket though.
have your crumple zones, because it's all in the rails connecting the front bumper to the main sort of frame of the chassis. Although this looks body on frame, so yeah, give me a classic looking with, maybe not all the modern amenities, because most of them are crap. Dials and switches, okay, and I want to see the interior of this thing. Dials and switches with, like, in a body on frame form factor, and maybe it'll sell, maybe it won't sell. I'd buy one if I could. I love it. Oh, I just saw the handle. The handle on the A-pillar. Oh, that is nice. Oh. So this balances out some of the more depressing news we've had the last couple of weeks, and there's even more to come. The FIA has finally, after weeks and weeks and weeks of burying their heads in the sand, have finally figured out maybe people won't watch our sport anymore if it's not fun. So they want to bring back V8s. They want to bring back V8s. This is kind of an early thing, but this seemed like a solid statement of intention. So I'll go over this. The way the FIA works in terms of the regulations relevant to this, as I understand it, is the FIA can unilaterally change the rules as early as 2031. So as early as the 2031 season, they can just say, this is how the engines are going to be. They can change it as early as 2030 if they get a majority vote from the engine suppliers for F1. So if a majority of the engine suppliers agree and say, yes, we're okay with this change, the rules change can go through as early as 2030, otherwise 2031. So far, and actually, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'll get into where they're at on that. But they want to go back to, so currently, and the reason why nobody's watching F1 right now is they're all running V6s with they're running V6 hybrid power units, and they've got a roughly 50-50 split between the V6 and the electric motor. And the problem is the electric motor at full tilt drains the battery in 20 seconds. So this season is very, very rubber bandy. If you've ever seen an F1 race from this season, it's awful. It's just awful.
It's like every one of the cars is a permanent lemon. It's like they're all having fucking issues and they can't get their shit together because they can't go full tilt or else they run out of electricity.
Yeah.
So it's more like a fucking power management game, which gets really annoying in video games. I can't imagine having to do it on a track while trying to race other people.
Yeah. I mean, the funniest sort of defense of this is like, oh, there's more overtaking. And yeah, it looks like Mario Kart. Because you pull ahead, you run out of juice, and then the other guy who still has juice passes you. And then you recharge your batteries, you pass him, and then he passes you, and it's just this back and forth bullshit because you lose close to half your power when your batteries run out, and they run out so quickly. I think they did. I heard something about recently. They compared lap times. So I think it was Mercedes placed first in qualifying for a recent race. And they compared that to the qualifying times for Formula 2, which is, I think, pretty close to pure ICE. And if the Merc F1 car had been qualifying for Formula 2, it would have placed dead last on the grid. And it was top of the grid in F1. Formula 2 is faster than Formula 1. I mean, it's... I know, right?
No, you know what you do? You don't throw V8s in it. You throw V10s in them bitches. Make them scream like fucking old school Ferraris and shit and Lamborghinis.
Oh, those were the good times. Yeah, some drivers complain about having to lift and coast into high speed corners.
Yeah, can you imagine how annoying that is? These
God.
people used to be flat out in every corner of these racetracks, and now they're fucking having to lift every 5 seconds to make sure the battery don't kill them.
Well, that'd piss me off.
Well,
The
didn't they almost have some near deaths or something at the beginning of the season? They were having problems launching these things and shit, and people would just like stop in the front of other people at the fucking starting line, from what I heard.
I haven't been tracking that, but that wouldn't shock me too much. They want to switch to V8s or V10s. V10s are a possibility, but they're focused on V8s right now. Still with sustainable fuel, whatever the fuck that means.
That means E85 or something.
Probably.
Like, they run flex fuel and they run the car out twice as fast.
So it sounds like the FIA is committed to bringing back V8s in 2031 and pushing for it to come in a year earlier. They're just trying to get the engine manufacturers on side with it. Which is a hell of a reversal from them, because they have spent the last couple months, I think, literally burying their heads in the sand. Like, locking replies on social media posts.
Literally just trying to hide from the truth until it fucking blows over.
Yeah, you've had all these spokespeople coming out being like, there's no problem. How dare you say there's any problem? Nobody has any real issues. It's just a couple whiners. Apparently not, because this shit. They finally figured out that, yeah, no, we can't just tell the. It's
every team.
It's everything in our society and our culture, generally, and it's been the automotive industry in particular for the last fucking decade, is all these fucking people running shit being like, we can tell the consumers, we can tell the viewers, we can tell the peons, the little people, what they're supposed to like. And it turns out you can't. You can't tell us what cars we want to buy, and you can't tell us what motorsport we want to watch. That's going to catch up to you, motherfuckers. We're not going to watch it. We're not going to buy it. And you are going to have to dance, monkey, dance. And that's this shit. They're finally learning. That's the Land Cruiser. That's this. No, you don't get to tell us, you will like the 50-50 power split bullshit and the super clipping and all that nonsense. No, we won't. And you're going to go out of business because your sport is ruinously expensive to run unless you bow to our whims and bring back the sport we actually want to watch. And that's what's happening in, 4 years.
Yeah, it's not about what they want to do. It's about what brings in the money.
Yeah.
That's the sad part of fucking trying to go to people and go, hey, do you like our product? Not with V6s.
V6s and the fucking hybrid power units.
V8s are a good start, but we want V10s back, motherfucker. We want the cars to go by and for us to be deaf for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Until the next round comes back.
There's a video I saw recently. It's taken from the sidelines on, the hill, the sort of windy hill you go up after the first corner at Spa?
Yeah.
The part that makes Spa my favorite track ever.
Yeah.
Old school V10 era F1 sidelines up the hill at Spa. Sounds heavenly.
It literally sounds like V12s with straight pipes. It's just the highest pitch, craziest shit you've ever heard. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, looking forward to that coming back. Unfortunately, we have to suffer through 4 years of this bullshit, at least, if not 5, before, or I should say 3, if not 4. I'm getting.
Well, what'll speed up? What'll speed up the votes? As far as the engine manufacturers.
Nobody watching it.
This year, just nobody watches F1 at all. Just enough to keep them from going insolvent. They'll have to change by next year, or else they won't keep around.
We'll see how that goes. Already seems like fans are checking out. Hey, can we get NASCAR to do this kind of shit next? Bring back actual stock car racing instead of this bullshit. I mean, when you've got more empty seats than actual fans, I think maybe it's time maybe you should be rethinking how you're running your sport.
Pure stock car racing needs to make a comeback. Group B rally in the modern age would be fucking crazy. Or as close as we can get to Group B without killing people again.
Yeah.
And then what else needs to make a comeback? I had one more. America needs to start competing every year in the experimental category for 24 hours of Le Mans.
Yeah.
If we can, if Ford and Chevy and all them were starting to make experiment cars, like the big wing crazy fucking power cars, can you imagine the craziness that we would get into?
Oh yeah. So moving on to where we're at on engine manufacturers, Mercedes and Red Bull Ford are both in favor, and Merc has plans. They want a 1,200 brake horsepower V8 power unit. Now it's power unit. Merc has, according to this article, Merc will back this, but they don't want to give up on the hybrid power unit. Merck's proposal seems to be for about an 800 horsepower V8 and a 400 horsepower electric motor. I'm not sure how that would shake out in practice.
I feel like that thing would be abysmally heavy and start affecting weight to power.
Yeah, which I would rather you just ditch the electric motor and give us an 800 horsepower V8.
800 horsepower in a car that weighs that little. I mean, that car, if those cars as they sit, even with the V8 in them, probably weigh half of what our cars do.
Yeah. Roughly. It's absurd. They are marvels of engineering. I'm still thinking on this though. I'm like, if it were just KERS, I don't know, 400 horsepower, 5-second KERS for short bursts, maybe. I think the problem is when you're relying on the electric motor as a primary driving force. Like, I could see almost a balance where you have 800 horsepower and then you get this extra, maybe not 400, maybe 200 to 300 horsepower in short bursts for passing, which takes care of some of the problems that we had in previous seasons with previous rule sets, with the sport just turning into a choo-choo train down the track and nobody passing each other, without going into what we have currently, which is the travesty where you lose half your power in the straights and you have super clipping. So
okay, I actually have a way. I have a way around this. We bring back the V8 engines, but
yes.
They do what the McLaren P1 did.
Mm.
You know what the McLaren P1 did? It had a hybrid system. Mm-hmm. It had all the fun technology, but there was an additional button where you could just do 100% of the power from the electric motor also. And it literally was a button on the steering wheel that said iPass or whatever, and you pressed it, and it gave you like an additional 300 horsepower or something to the rear wheels.
Yeah,
and just let you take off. Give them the option to activate it instead of having it always active for them to fuck up with.
Yeah, and then you just extend the battery charge and discharge and capacity limits that we have currently, so that you're not just holding the button down. The point is that the electric motor is not a primary driver of the vehicle, but is a little supplement to give you a little strategic edge. I could see that being interesting. Will it shake out like that? I don't know. I haven't done. This is kind of an off the top of my head idea, but I
actually think that would make it more interesting for about 3-4 years, because it's like old school drag racing with like first generation nitrous cars. He who hits the nitrous at the right time wins.
Yeah. I think I think that the sum of all this though is we kind of have to accept. I'm not even going to go with the caveat of, well, with current technology. No, just flat out, pure EVs are not a good driver for serious motorsport. And EVs should not be the primary driver of a vehicle for serious motorsport. The primary driver in any kind of sport that extends for longer than an hour should be an internal combustion engine, because the power density that you get out of combustion fuel is simply unmatched by anything that isn't being combusted.
I'm going to make a guess.
And let me finish here for a second. That's not to say that there's no place for electric motors and batteries as a supplement, as a support, but we need to kind of stop trying to make, either pure EVs or like EV ICE balance shit. It doesn't work. This season of F1, the rules we have currently kind of proves that. Continue.
I'm gonna make a guess on where this whole hybrid thing is gonna shake out too.
Mm-hmm.
We're dropping full EVs. It's kind of just done already. Yeah. We're seeing the fucking fall now. It'll maybe hit a point where there's minimal of them on the road at any one time, but every time anybody ever tried to convert like actual work equipment to full EV or anything, the fucking power companies would go, are you fucking nuts? And so with that response, ain't nobody gonna try that shit anymore. It's over. I think what's gonna happen is that we're gonna get to the point at which it always should have been. One, America, like not even America, but the world just needs to fucking quit being afraid of nuclear power again.
Mm-hmm.
And two, hybrid electric is great for trains. Diesel electric motors are fantastic. Other than that, we don't need gas electric. That's dumb. Just make me ICE cars forever. I don't want any fucking changes. Just make new engine models and make them fun and do whatever. But if you need a work application, diesel electric motors work just fine. They work great. Trains proved that a long fucking time ago. They're all that way.
Well, especially in serious high-end motorsport.
No, I'm talking the world as a whole. I honestly don't think we need hybrid engines just on a daily basis.
I actually take a different approach. I quite like performance hybrids. I like electric motors as a supplement to an ICE because they absolutely are beneficial in terms of performance and even in terms of enthusiast enjoyment. I will give them that immediate torque response. Now, you're not getting the same kind of peak torque as you're getting out of a like similarly sized, similarly massed, properly tuned internal combustion engine, and you're definitely not getting the range or longevity. But the immediacy of the power is definitely a benefit, especially for, big turbo ICE mild hybrid.
Yeah.
Sounds hot. Because who gives a shit about turbo lag if you've got an electric motor for the low range? So I think there is a place even for like enthusiasts for hybrids to an extent, but like again, it can't be the primary mover. It has to be a supplement. It can be a very good supplement. It can't be the primary driver of the vehicle. Especially because of how these things are run and controlled, and the amount of computerization that you necessarily need to make them work. They're not super tunable and adjustable.
Well, and I will say that it seems to be conflated with people nowadays that having the hybrid engine means that since they already have more computers in there, they like to connect them to shit that don't necessarily need them. You ever notice that?
Yep.
Fucking why in the hell is there anything between me, the brake pedal, and the actual brakes besides just the fucking wire full of fluid? Like, let's be real here.
Good question.
Because we talked about that, I think, episode 2 or 3, that Ford was having a problem with those systems failing.
Yeah. Ford has a problem with a lot of systems failing, unfortunately.
That's true. I mean, they beat the record for the amount of fucking recalls. So, yeah, they're doing something wrong. Let me close my door.
But, yeah, it looks like this should be moving ahead. We've still got the 26 season that we have to suffer. We have to suffer the 27 season, and the 28 season, and the 29 season. We've got 4 seasons 3 and change, really, under the current rules. And then 2030 season, V8s with mild hybrid. Maybe F1 will be watchable. Depends upon how they implement it, depends upon how they do the rules, depends upon whether they want to actually make the hybrid motor a supplement, or if they want to continue to cling to this notion of electrification, which is fucking stupid. Just put a fucking pantograph on the cars at that point. You know, like a friggin' bumper cars. Just a little thing going up. Put wires over the tracks. Done. There you go. You have your electrification.
With electrification, I mean, yeah, you're right. Just make it like a fucking trolley. But the only thing the only way you could make a fucking electrified car race interesting at that point is to find a way to make somebody die, unfortunately, and that's just not sustainable in the long run.
Sacrifice one driver a year for the audience.
Yeah, seriously, fucking that's like somebody God, there was a comedian a long time ago that made a joke about how to make NASCAR more interesting. You have the triathlon, you have NASCAR, you release 1,000 deer on the infield and let them do whatever the fuck they want, and then you have wife beating on that, and it would fucking make the perfect trio. The redneck trio. But can you imagine that race even without the wife beating, the deer running everywhere in front of a car that's going 200 miles an hour? Shit would get real quick.
No, I mean, you brought up Group B. Fuck the whole, make it safe for the drivers. Like, just make a motorsport. You know the old joke about, they should make a version of the Olympics where you can take however many steroids you want, just see what you can do. Like, make a motorsport version of that. Just Group B, your rule book is 1 page, and it's just what classes your car in. And then, if you die, you die.
Effectively.
It's a motorsport for people who want to give their life to motorsports.
Let's be honest on the reason Group B shut down. It had nothing to do with the driver deaths, of which there was I believe there was 1 driver and it was like the guy that was supposed to be first that year probably died early on a racetrack full of ice. What really shut that sport down was the fact that they have fucking 6,000 people standing right along the road. These people are doing 180 plus on dirt.
Yeah.
People obviously got some dead.
Well, the big crash was, and I forget his name, unfortunately, to my shame. There was a driver, and his crash was so violent, when they got to the wreckage, they couldn't identify the corpses.
Henry Toivonen.
The car, yes. Henry Toivonen. Yeah. And the car was unrecognized. It basically crashed like a fighter jet. Just boom. And that's when they were like, it's a bit fast. But do that, televise it, and so you don't have people standing next to the track risking getting creamed. And then have another series, and maybe you have a little bit more sane of a rule set. But you make them, you put all the stages in like Western Ukraine or Eastern Ukraine or like West Africa. Like Paris-Dakar, but oh no, there's a little bit of political trouble along the race. That just makes it interesting. If you drive over a landmine,
honestly, they could have kept the sport around. They had 1 guy in the Ford RS200 swerve into spectators on accident and kill 3 people, but really should have happened. They had 2 in 2 years. They had 2 deaths or 3 deaths. They had 1 death in '85 on the Tour de Corsa, and then 2 more deaths. Henry Toivonen and his co-driver died the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, just get rid of that course, because every time they went to that course, it was covered in fucking ice. It was mountain roads that were covered in black ice at all times.
See,
what
now,
did you think was going to happen?
Now I'm a little hung up on the notion of a stage rally through Eastern Ukraine. Mine-covered Eastern Ukraine. Could you imagine the co-driver call-outs? For the love of God, don't cut.
There's a mine on the inside corner. Do not cut. That would actually be fucking. That would be
Spectator.
Peak,
it's like, the Subaru's coming around. He's 2 corners away. Boom. And he's not coming around anymore.
That's modern day Death Race is what that is. You remember those movies with fucking Jason Statham?
Yeah. Or I think before, I don't know. I think there were older ones that didn't have Jason Statham. I remember the newer ones with Jason Statham, but I think the older ones.
I don't care about anything that was before my time in most cases. I'm going to be honest with you. The ones I remember were the ones that released while I was alive.
Fair enough. Your time is all-encompassing as it is. All right. Speaking of fun racing, and I promise this is fun.
2026 올해 슈퍼레이스 챔피언.
Mute this. Yeah, this is apparently a thing that I discovered today. I don't know if this is new, but the article on it is new. This is one make Prius racing in South Korea.
This is the slowest takeoff to a fucking track I've seen in a long time, by the way.
I think it looks like fun, and not because of how fast it may or may not be, but because it's fucking goofy.
It is.
It's goofy as hell, and I love it.
And my question is, how in the fuck did those three already get that far behind? Do you see the three in the back coming around that? Oh my god, there's one just look like he's skipping. What the fuck?
Electrical problems, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, immediately fucking drops out because he has massive electrical problems. That's funny as hell.
It actually looks like oh no, they're pace cars, I think, because those are Lexuses.
That Lexus is a pace car. Are all three of them pace cars? Maybe they are.
Holding up the back. I'm not sure. I don't speak Korean. You can get Priuses for pretty cheap. This almost looks like a interesting version of Spec Miata. Not that Spec Miata isn't interesting, but like Spec Prius, come on, SCCA, NASA, give it to me. Give me Spec Prius.
Is actually, Spec Prius is fucking hilarious to me, though.
My question, and kind of going back to some comments I had on Merck's engine proposals for 2030, how long does the battery in a Prius last at wide open throttle? Because that could, if it doesn't last super long, that could be interesting. You're managing your charge the race, but not like F1 where you only have 20 seconds. Oh yeah, let's watch the launch.
You have one that is sitting still. That dude stalled or something. Look at him. Now he's finally going.
I don't even know if it's entertaining to drive, but it sure as shit's entertaining to watch.
He's sitting at the line. What the fuck did he do? He dropped clutch and it died.
I'm sorry.
The one behind him reacted quick.
I know these cars kind of suck for this application, but somehow it's entertaining, and I want this in the States.
Why is watching a 4-door egg with a bunch of wrapping on it go around a track actually semi-entertaining?
Okay. Toyota, please. 2 words. GR Prius. You know you want.
No! Dear God, let them make other fun shit first. Let them bring back the Supra and shit and make GR a great thing before you come out with the Prius and ruin it all. Oh my God.
Well, they're already coming out. What is it? The GR CRV or no, it's Honda. GR like RAV4 or something.
I think it's the GR RAV4. So they have the GR Corolla, the GR Yaris. I think they're dropping one of those two. I can't remember. I think it's the
Yaris.
And then they have the Supra
and the 8.6.
The 8.6 and the RAV4 is coming.
Yeah.
So right now they have 5. Honestly, I think if they wanted to keep something goofy, the Yaris is the perfect one to keep. The Yaris was so fucking quick for what it was.
I still say drop the GR RAV4 concept and give us the GR Prius. Oh, they're actually kind of fast in the corners. Probably because they're so slow and yet so aerodynamic, they're taking them flat out.
How did that guy manage to lose it on that? How? Okay, that was driver error. That wasn't car error because that thing doesn't have enough speed not to take that corner correctly.
I'm sorry, I want it. If I had the space and the money for it, if you slap GR Prius in front of me, I would buy it.
This is actually pretty funny, yeah. Those cars are not good looking cars, though. Look at that fucking body style.
It's growing on me, honestly. I mean, the front end is...
That's a hatchback Model 3 that's not as wide. Is what that looks like, or Model X or whatever. The thing, if it was taller, it'd look like the Model X or whichever one was the SUV.
Yeah, I like it.
I wouldn't want to own it, but I would definitely fucking do a lap in it. Just for the good times.
There's serious racing, and then there's deeply unserious racing, and sometimes you just gotta have some goofy fun, and I like this. It's goofy fun in the car that you pick, but it's serious enough. Like, you're not being completely goofy and stupid. You are trying to win, and that makes it kind of fun to watch. But you're trying to win in something you probably shouldn't be racing. The Koreans are doing it right.
Yeah.
So
the Koreans are like, what's interesting? Well, a lot of people seem to like these, so let's try this.
Oh, I got nothing else. I don't even have anything to be pissed off about this week. It's a happy week.
It's been a good week.
Sponsored by Popeyes. What the fuck?
Sponsored by Popeye, dude. The Popeyes ad on the back window is so good. I wonder what Popeyes sells in Korea. You think they sell the same thing, or do you think it's like McDonald's in Japan where they sell a bunch of seafood?
It's like everything in Japan. It's probably like everything in East Asia. Like East Asian fast food restaurants are something different. It's wild stuff. Oh.
Although this could be Popeye's way to try to break into the European or the Asian market. It's like get people used to seeing Popeyes and then open their first store.
I think they probably have stores in Korea.
Problem.
I got nothing else. Do you have anything else?
No, not really. I mean, it's been a pretty slow week.
Yeah.
I'm still getting ready for vacation. You guys aren't going to see me for 2 weeks, but I don't think you'll notice.
Yeah. And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end. Thank you all so very much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Later.